Hey there, in this video, I'm going to show you how to add an event on your website using the Events Calendar plugin. So let's get started. Okay, first thing first, we are going to go to our WordPress dashboard and you're going to type in your URL and then /wp-admin. That's going to take you to a page that looks just like this. You're going to type in your username, your password, and hit login. Next, that's going to bring you to your WordPress dashboard, and we are going to look in the top left panel over here, and under post or thereabout, we are going to look for events, hover over that, and then we're going to click add new. Okay, so next we're going to see the event page where we add the new event. And I've already copied my text over here to save time, so you don't have to watch me copy and paste a bunch of times. So the very top part is going to be your event title. Going to type that in there. And then under here is your event description. And you'll see two modes. There's actually a visual mode and a text mode. So if you use visual, you can get this bar up here. So if you want to do things like bold, italic, etc., you can have access to that up there. So probably the most advanced part of this entire thing is just getting our dates in there, because this little section is quite powerful. So if you just have a simple event that is just one day at one time, you go right here and you just click on the very first box. You are going to, for this example, let's just say it's on the 21st. And we're going to click here and go down to our time. Let's just say it's at 1 to 5. That's good. So this is just one event on one day at one specific time. However, if we have a different types of events, if this is an all-day event, we can just click that. That means it's just going to be the entire day. Or let's say we have an entire event. Maybe it's a camp. So it's Monday to Friday. So we can click on here. And then let's change that to Monday. Let's change this to Friday. And let's click all day event. Now we have an all day or week event here. So let's try to do let's say we have a weird kind of multi-day event. So let's say we have a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday event. So we'll go here and we'll pick the first one is Friday. And let's just say it's 1 to 5. We're going to go back there and put that on Friday as well. This next button is where we start to add our multiple or recurring events. So we want to click on schedule multiple events. So when does the event happen? So for this instance, it happens on the next day. So this happens once on 1/21. And then we'll keep the same exact time and we'll say this is on the same day. This next box has some recurring options, but for simplicity's sake, we'll just leave it on the same day. All right, so that is in there. And let's add one more event on Sunday. So this will happen the following Sunday. And let's actually change the time for this event. So we're actually going to say, oh, Sunday's event it starts at 11 to 5. It's a little different. And you can keep going in here and just keep adding more and more events on different recurring dates. And let's say we mess up. There's a trash icon here. We can hit that. And yes, we want to delete that. And that is now gone. Okay, so a couple more options in here. Let's say we just had a recurring event that happen daily. You can click this happens button and we can now choose from daily to weekly to monthly to even yearly. Let me just show you what weekly looks like because that seems pretty standard. So we can say this happens weekly. It happens every 1 week, so once a week. And it happens every Friday. And this event ends never, or we can say it ends on a date or after a date. So we can say this event actually ends on this date. So let's say we had a holiday and we wanted to interrupt the occurring events. We could go to this next line here and this says event will not occur and we can add an exception. So if you wanted to add an exception, maybe it's a holiday, you could go in here and add that in there. The next thing we have is location. So for our location, we can actually just click this and pick our locations. We've already added a bunch in here, but if you wanted to add a brand new one, you would just hover right here, click on this, and add that address right in there. The next two options are show map link. So those are right there. I like to leave these on. And then the next thing is groups. Now, we actually added an events calendar extension that allowed us to rename things within the plugin. So we added this extension, and normally this is called Organizer. So again, if you go back to your events calendar documentation, anything in there, it'll say Organizer, but we renamed this on this site to say Groups because I think that's a little cleaner, right? All right, so let's pick our group here. So we can pick our group. And if we wanted to add multiple groups to the same event, we could do that in here. And the next thing is event website. That is where you'll put your ticket links or your registration links. Next up is additional fields. Now, not every site has this. This is also an extension. This allowed us to put custom fields in, so you can put things like kindergarten, elementary, middle school. So we did it for age groups. You can do that in other ways like tags, but we just felt this way was cleaner, so we put that in there like that. Event cost is down here. For this site, we're not using it, but if you did have a currency that you wanted to display, you could just put that right in there. Below here is our excerpt, and we have that populated in here. Okay, so let's talk about this right sidebar here. Let's start on the second one, is event status. So right now our event status is set to scheduled because it's a scheduled event. That is our standard go-to. And under here, if we click on here, we can actually see we have statuses for canceled and postponed. So if you ever wanted to cancel event and leave it up for your audience to see that it is canceled, we would click one of those options there. Next up is our featured image, and we can just click on this set featured image, and we can add it from our media gallery, or we can upload a file. And now our featured image is added. Below that is our event categories, and our event categories show up on the front end as our event filters. So we can click classes for this option. And below that is a couple more options. These are a little more technical that you probably won't need all the time, but I'll go over them just so they're here. So we have hide from event listings. If you wanted to have maybe a private event and you just wanted to create it in here, but only share it with your staff, it wouldn't show up on the front end. You could have sticky in month view. And lastly, you can have a featured event. Featured event just looks a little more snazzy on the front end, and you can also create shortcodes to pull in just featured events. Next is tags, and tags are here if you want to add some tags for SEO purposes. And the very last thing is series. So something that the WordPress plugin does is when you create recurring events, it actually ties them all together and puts them in an event series. So series is the big overarching event, and then you have your multiple one-day events within that series. If you ever wanted to come back and edit those, that is in here. Lastly, we're going to talk about publishing this event. Now, we can save this event as a draft if we want to come back. Maybe we don't have all of our details. We can just save this as a draft and keep this in here. And next we can publish it immediately right here. Or let's say we wanted to schedule this. We could actually schedule when we want this published. So if you go in here, pick your date, you can actually pick your scheduled time, hit OK. And then now this button is now scheduled. So you can schedule your event if you don't want this live until a certain instance. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Jeremiah from Launch Bay Creative. We'll see you in the next one.